which is a global domain name registry. I've spent about 8 to 10 years in the field of marketing and web design, building tons of websites for various clients across the country and across the world in F&B, travel, tech, accounting, all sorts of industries. Worked with a lot of designers over the last 10 years, helping them figure out how to present an idea and seeing how web design has been evolving over the last couple of years. And that's exactly what I'd like to talk about today. Take you all through about how web design has been evolving and how it will evolve in the next 1 year, at least according to me. It's a great pleasure for me to actually do this because it's been a passion of mine for quite some time, and ResellerClub has given me a chance to put this across. I hope you'll enjoy this and enjoy this tech talk that we'll be doing right now. So 2018 is, I think, going to be a very definitive year for web design because over the last 4 to 5 years, we've seen web design evolve in a lot of ways. And some of the main points that I think would be very important for anyone in web design right now are the ones that I'm going to be covering. First one of which is animations. So I think over the last 2 or 3 years, what we've seen is a lot of people using videos on their websites, a lot of small tweaks here and there. We started off with parallax, that's totally outdated now, but we started doing a lot of other things. I think 2018 is going to be the year when web designers really understand the amount of power that animations can play in the user experience. It's very important to understand that I'm not talking about animations about making your website look extremely flashy, but more about how can you use subtle animations to give the best experience to a user. A lot of websites, as I said, have started using web videos, and it's very important to understand that videos don't always work. Everyone says, please use videos in your websites, but you have to be very, very wary about the fact that your user might not have the best bandwidth. You might not have the best hosting service. You might not have your website might not be performing as well as you want. Do you really want to put a video that will really clog your website down? Or can you do the same thing with animations? Few of the animations that you see in daily websites, which some of the examples we'll be putting up here, can really make a lot of difference to how a user actually perceives you. Simple things like a preloader, how much can that make a difference to how a website is received, how it's perceived. Things like a simple scroll or fill in buttons or drop downs, how do they animate on and off the screen? It's very important because if they're laggy, it makes your whole website seem extremely laggy. If it's absent, it makes the transition from one state to another look very sudden, and that again creates this subconscious feeling that, okay, something's not right. So it's extremely important to keep those in consideration. At the same time, when we're talking about animations, I think it's very important, again, maybe share some links on this, about how an animation which looks really good. At the same time, if it takes too long, the animation in itself takes too long, it might show that your website is really slow. So you need to keep those things in mind too. So don't always go for videos, think about animations, think about subtle animations which enhance user experience. They shouldn't be there just to make your website flashy. So that's obviously a very important one. The next one that we can talk about, which again, over the last couple of years, you'll see a lot of evolution, is colors. Now, we all started off with a huge white background, lovely, clean, minimal websites. And I think over the last 3 to 4 years, we've been seeing that shift a lot. A huge, some of the bigger companies are doing this too. If any of you all have gone through Dropbox's new brand identity, you'll see how they've shifted completely from white and blue to a hugely colorful, vibrant color palette. And that's something which we're seeing a lot of websites do. Take any of the bigger websites, you'll start seeing them use fluorescent colors, you'll start seeing them use vibrant colors. Why this is again important is a user, when they come into your website, they're very used to seeing a clean white background. If you can infuse some color, if you can infuse something different, that really makes you stand out. Now it's very important to understand how to infuse the color and what you should do and what you shouldn't do. So some things like color psychology are extremely important. You can't really put up any random color and think that your user will perceive it well. You need to be you really need to look into that, make sure the colors are perfect and they go along with your brand's image. That's number one. Number two, how does one specific color interact with the other colors on your website? You can't put a bright green background and have bright red text on top of it, obviously. I mean, everyone knows that, but sometimes we miss that out when we're dealing with a lot of colors on the page. So it's very important to have some basic standards, but also look to move away from the traditional white-based websites. And I think 2018 is going to see a huge number of websites moving to the fluorescent palettes, huge colorful gradients, and such and so forth. It's going to be actually a lot of fun, and that's something I'm looking forward to. You can actually also check out a lot of these on our competition website, which is f3.space. A lot of the websites that have been submitted now for the web design competition that we're running have very colorful palettes, and that's you can see that evolving over time. I think the third point, which is the closest to my heart, is custom illustrations. It's very easy to pick up a website builder, pick up any of the various different aspects of web design or frameworks and just build on top of it, pick up themes. But one way you can still use themes and stick out is by using custom illustrations. Again, some of the top brands across the world are doing this. Pick up MailChimp, pick up Dropbox, pick up any of the bigger brands, and they've slowly started moving towards custom illustrations. Custom illustrations are almost like your own identity, like your own fingerprint. No one else will be able to copy these, and they will really set your brand and your website apart from each other. You can use custom illustrations for various things. You can use them for error messages, which will make them more fun and quirky maybe, or they can be serious also. You can use them for informative text or infographics. That will again help and give a lot better experience on your website. You can also use custom illustrations just to increase the interactivity on your website or to highlight specific portions of your website. Make sure the custom illustrations or the illustrations that you're using are different from anything else, that's why they're custom. And second, that they maintain a consistent visual language throughout the website. You can't have one page using one kind of illustrations and the next page using something completely different. That's when the user gets confused. So we've seen this evolving over the last few years. There was a lot of iconography that was used in the last 2 to 3 years. We saw a lot of flag design being used, and now we're seeing the comeback actually of custom illustrations. This was something which was done a lot in the print days, and now it's coming back into web design. So that's extremely exciting. We ourselves at Radix have just created a completely new set of custom illustrations. We'll be using that in our visual language, and it is exciting. Anyone who's into design will find this really exciting because that's where you actually get to break away from the norms of, okay, this is the layout, this is the grid I need to follow, what can I do more than that, how can I really stand out? So if anyone's looking to create something really different and still look like a well-presented website, I would say look at custom illustrations and have fun with them. They're amazing. So I think over the last 6 to 7 years, everyone has spoken about this, and that's mobile first. But for some reason, everyone hasn't adopted it. And that's something which still gets me a little bit confused because we see a lot of websites being created these days which are still not, forget mobile first, they're not even responsive. It's a scary thought, and I don't understand why companies and why designers don't design mobile first. If you look at any website, go through analytics, or any of the major websites, go through any of the big analytic platforms, you will see very clearly the shift from desktop to mobile. And that's a huge shift. Over the last 3 years itself, we have seen our mobile base grow from about 20 to about 70%, which is a huge, it's 3 times the base. So any website that's being designed today, it's very important to look at mobile and not look at mobile as, oh, people will also come on a mobile device and go through my website, but look at it as, these are the people who are coming, these are the guys who are converting. And it's very important to understand that everyone has their mobile with them throughout the day. That's when you can actually engage with them. People don't really sit on their computer unless and until it's for work or sending out some specific emails or stuff like that. Most of the time people are checking out stuff on their mobile. So be sure that your user will also look at the mobile device, go through the website on the mobile device. Make sure that everything that we spoke about from now, the colors, the animations, the custom illustrations, all of that works well on mobile, works for mobile rather than for desktop. A lot of stuff like videos might not render completely on mobile. They might be too heavy for mobile. The aspect ratio might be wrong. So those are the things you really need to keep in mind and make sure that, let's just take a pledge this year, all designers, that every single website is going to be mobile first. At least the ones that matter and the ones that we know are going to be getting a lot of attention from mobile users. Let's just do that. I don't think there should be a debate about that at all. So yeah, 2018, mobile first for sure. So the last point that I really want to talk about, it's a little different from all the others, and you don't see this in a lot of places, but I believe it's something that's again going to make a comeback. It's something that's very small, a very small part of design, but can give a lot of emphasis, and that's organic shapes and patterns actually. So over the last couple of years, everyone started using minimal design, started using flat designs in which there was a lot of straight edges which moved to slight rounded corners, gradients, some shadows. Over the last year, a year and a half, what we've noticed is the comeback of patterns and organic shapes. Now when I'm talking about organic shapes, it's more about understanding how nature designs stuff. If you go out into nature, you're not going to see a square box anywhere. You're not going to see something with small rounded corners anywhere, but you're going to see nice organic curves. You're going to see nice things that flow seamlessly into each other. And that's what we've also started seeing in web design. A lot of websites have started using, I'll put some up over here, have started using organic patterns which just seamlessly flow into each other. It helps the user go through your website very easily and makes the experience a lot better. Once you look at these websites, once you look at the patterns, you actually realize that even though it's in the background, it actually forms a very big part of what your subconscious mind is reading. And that's what's extremely important. For any designer, it's very important to understand that the design that you're creating is not just something which the user will consciously take in, but it is something that subconsciously interacts with them, subconsciously influences their thoughts. Therefore, all things that I mentioned right now, patterns, colors, illustrations, all of this are things that will subconsciously determine whether a user likes your website, understands it, and interacts with it in the way that you want to. So it's very important to look at all of these. These 5 points which I mentioned would be what I would say the top 5 trends that we will see in 2018, and I've definitely started seeing them already. As we mentioned earlier, we have a competition running called F3.space, which is a global web design competition. We've already received various entries from all over the world, from about 50 different countries. We've received 1,300 to 1,500 registrations, and we've started seeing these designers use these techniques to actually bring out the designs. And if any of y'all are interested, y'all can also participate. Just log on to F3.space, participate. It's open till the end of March. So look forward to that. And yeah, look out for all these trends. Try using them in your own designs. They're not that difficult. It's very simple to use any of them. If you can't use all 5, pick out the one that you think works the best. It'll help you stand out from the rest of the crowd. And it'll help you get better experience and better user engagement on your website. Okay guys, thank you for taking out the time to go through this video. I hope you all learned something and I hope it was informative. Thanks again to ResellerClub. If you all like this video and you want to hear more such videos, make sure that you'll subscribe to their YouTube channel, check them out on Facebook, and make sure that you'll do go to F3.space and participate in the competition. Thank you guys.